Hello everyone. First of all, I'm sorry it's been a while, but as I've promised, here are some more videos that I'll be posting. This is just one of hopefully many to come. I also want to say thank you to those of you who have been commenting over and over again on the Paradox video. I love that. It has almost 30 comments on it right now, and it's just gotten people thinking, and I've been talking back and forth with people about them. So many people have shared it, so many new subscribers. It has over 1,000 views, and that's all obviously because of you guys, and I want to say thank you for that. So I guess I'll get right to it with another top 10 list. Today we have the top 10 improv moments in movies. Now I chose these based on how popular the lines had become, based on people repeating them or just a famous part of the movie, also based on how famous the movie was and how clever the actor was when they were just coming up with that line. If it's something simple, it might not be as high on the list, which I'm sure some people won't be happy about, but if it was more thought out and took a lot more commitment or thinking to do, got a little higher. To start off the list, we have The Fugitive. The movie The Fugitive. If you haven't seen it, great movie. I love it. Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones in it, they make a great combo there. And there's one point in the movie where Harrison Ford is looking at Tommy Lee Jones and he says, "I didn't kill my wife." And then Tommy Lee Jones just looks up and says, "I don't care." That whole part was improv. That "I don't care" line that just cut so much tension in that movie. It took a serious sort of "we feel bad for you" moment, "are you turning in the character" moment, to "oh, Tommy Lee Jones is just being Tommy Lee Jones in that movie." And his whole character's attitude, that whole movie, is exactly that "I don't care" type thing. Moving on to number 9, we have the Cinderella story from the movie Caddyshack. Now, if you haven't seen Caddyshack, it's a cult classic, funny movie, and the part that I'm talking about, if you don't know, for those of you who have seen it, it's when Bill Murray is sort of monologuing his whole groundskeeper to man at Augusta golfing among the pros. It's a whole funny moment where he's talking about his Cinderella story and all that stuff. It goes on for what's probably like a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and it's where one of the most famous lines, "It's in the hole" from the movie, comes from. And that whole thing, not just the "it's in the hole" line, but the entire Cinderella story was totally improv. Number 8, we have from the movie The Shining, "Here's Johnny." The line "Here's Johnny." Now, that is a classic line. It's not directly from the movie, but the movie really kind of helped it. I mean, "Here's Johnny" was from Johnny Carson's show where he would come out and "Here's Johnny," and that kind of stuff. So to kind of make the moment in the movie The Shining even a little bit creepier than it was, Jack Nicholson, after he axed the shit out of a bathroom door, stuck his face in the hole, and I know you all have seen this if you haven't seen the movie, and says, "Here's Johnny." So he totally improv that moment. Um, the next one we have on the list is actually from The Godfather, and that is the scene it's somewhere in the beginning, right after they kill a guy. You hear them say, "Leave the gun, take the cannolis." That whole thing was improv right there. I know it's not, I say the whole thing, it's not a lot, but that's one of the most classic lines from the movie, "Leave the gun, take the cannoli." So I just figured that it had to be on the list. Number 6, we have from Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, I believe. I'm not a huge Star Wars fan, so if I said that wrong, please correct me. Right as Han is about to be frozen in carbonite, Leia says, "I love you," and he says, "I know." And he was supposed to say, "I love you too," but Harrison Ford thought that he would show Han's character more, sort of the asshole that you kind of like, by just saying "I know." So he went with that, and another classic line from the movie. Number 5, I believe, up next is a lot of actual moments from the movie The Dark Knight. Now, it's, of course, as soon as I say The Dark Knight, you all know I'm talking about Heath Ledger. And he does so much in that movie. A lot of his stuff is improv, and that's why he's so high on this list. Little things like when he's in the police station and they're talking about him, he looks at them sort of maniacally and just holds his hands out and claps. And it just really adds this huge amount of awkward tension to the entire scene, to where you can even feel it as the viewer. And just for him to think about that randomly, and for them to roll with that, is really impressive. And then there's the classic scene. I'm sure all of you know this, and if not, when I first heard this, I was like, holy crap, you've got to be kidding me. It's when he's dressed up as the nurse, he walks out of the hospital, and he kind of fidgets around with the detonator, and he hits it, nothing happens, kind of looks back, starts playing with the button, and then it blows up, and then he runs off into the bus where he was supposed to go originally. Now, some people think that the explosion delay wasn't supposed to happen, but the delay actually was. What happens in the scene, if you haven't seen it, is he hits the button, like I said, there's a delay. Now, they only had one shot, obviously, because there's a lot of pyrotechnics that go into that, and they're destroying the building. So it was pretty much a one and done type thing, and they were hoping the shot worked. Now, the first time I heard it, I thought the delay wasn't supposed to happen. I thought it was supposed to be an instant click. But what was supposed to happen is he was supposed to push the button, walk off screen, go into the bus, and then it was supposed to explode behind him. But instead he sat there and started fidgeting with the detonator, and it was just I can't even describe how perfect that is for the Joker. Just for him to stand there fidgeting like, oh, why isn't this killing a lot of people already? And then it does, and then he just runs off because he's happy. Number 4, we have even more improv from the movie, even more than what Heath Ledger did in the Joker. It's from Full Metal Jacket. All of the shit talking you hear is from just right off the top of his head. And I'm talking about the very beginning when he's saying some of my favorite things I've ever heard. I didn't know they stack shit that high. You climb like old people fuck. So many lines. And just the way he says bullshit. Bullshit! So funny. I don't know why I like it, but I do. All of that, all just right off of his head. They actually just said, go for it. Talk a bunch of crap to these people. And he went on for like 45 minutes just completely tearing these people apart. And what's funny is he actually wasn't supposed to be as the role of their sergeant. I think he was their sergeant. But whatever, he was above them, above all the privates. They originally brought him in as a consultant and thought he would be too nice to actually play the role until they let him do that and saw how much of a dick he could be and how hilarious it was. So they kept him, and I don't even know where he would be now if that didn't work out, because he's been in many, many, many other movies since then. Number 3, we have from the movie Taxi Driver. If you don't know the movie, that's fine. You know the line, though. So when Robert Downey Jr. Wow. Did I really just say that? It's Robert De Niro. Oh my god. See, it's rusty from not making the movies for so long. Robert De Niro says, "You talking to me? You talking to me?" That whole thing, totally improv. It goes on a lot more, obviously. I'm not even going to try to remember the entire thing because I don't want to. But you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. I still cannot believe I said Robert Downey Jr. Wow. It's Robert De Niro. I feel stupid, but that was all improv too right there. So before I get to number 1, oh, actually, I'm sorry. Again, stupid. Going on to number 2 now, we have Funny How from Goodfellas. In Goodfellas, they're sitting at the table talking about how this happens and that. They're just all joking around, and then someone says, "You're funny," to Joe Pesci, and all of a sudden, all of the joking stops, and he says, "I'm funny how? Funny like a clown? Do I amuse you?" That kind of shit. It goes on all the way through to the end, and it's one of those moments that they talk about as sort of like another one where it perfectly describes his character, how he could just turn on a dime like that, and then you realize he's joking about it, but you can really see on the faces of the actors, knowing that it was improvised, you can see on the face of the actors like, what the fuck am I supposed to say here? Which works perfectly because that's what your reaction would be if you were put in that situation where all of a sudden you're joking around and then here's this guy who might kill us now. What do we do? And you can, like I said, you really see that on their faces, and it just adds more to the scene. Okay, so now, before I move on to the number 1, I want to talk about some honorable mentions here, just quick shout-outs. These didn't make the list, but they're really great improv moments. We have the lineup from The Usual Suspects, when they're supposed to say, "Give me the keys, you fucking cocksucker." All of them were just supposed to say it normally, and then the way they said it was all off the top of their heads, and you can really see it by how hard they're actually laughing at each other, because no one knows what anyone is gonna say. So all those laughs, you hear all that laughing and all that stuff, that was a genuine laughter at, instead of characters, as actors, buddies who are just trying to make each other laugh. Another one, we have Good Will Hunting, the farting wife story, when Robin Williams says his wife used to fart in bed and talks about all that stuff. That was all improv, and again, you can see on Matt Damon's face how genuine his laugh is, because that was just total improv right there. Another one, Reservoir Dogs. We have the part where I forgot Mr. Who it was. It was a color, I know that. But he chops the dude's ear off and then starts talking to it and just fucking around with him. He's total maniacal weird ass, but the whole part of him talking to the ear was just him going with it, I guess. He was supposed to torture the guy, but the things he said and the things he did were just right off the top of his head. Another pretty funny one is from Knocked Up. It's when they're going back and forth. You want to know how I know you're gay? You want to know how I know you're gay? And they go back and forth. And I think the actual cut is like 6 minutes long of them just going back and forth. And you might be able to see that if you have the DVD. There's probably an extra in there somewhere. But all of that was basically the director just saying go with it and trying to be funny. I've mentioned this before from Silence of the Lambs. It's the Hannibal slurp that he does when he's talking to Clarice. So I won't get into detail about that because, like I said, I've talked about it before. One that just barely missed the list was from Indiana Jones, when he pulls out his gun and shoots the guy who just pulls out his sword and does a whole bunch of moves. It was originally supposed to be a drawn-out sword fight about, having this, mano-a-mano fight to the death type thing, and Indy would obviously win. But Harrison Ford was actually sick that day, so he just kind of said fuck it, pulled out his gun, shot. Luckily the actor went along with it and dropped to the ground, and then they used that take in the final editing of the movie. So going on to number one now. I have my list off to my left now, so it's a little weird looking different ways. But anyway, number one, we have You're Gonna Need a Bigger Boat from Jaws. Now, when I heard that this was an improvised moment, I didn't believe it, because it is one of the most famous lines in movie history, repeated in other movies even, not just in, average day-to-day life. But we all know what the scene is. First time Brody actually sees Jaws, steps back, tension's mounting, then he just looks over and says, "You're gonna need a bigger boat." That just right off the top of his head. He wasn't supposed to say anything, he just felt like saying it and went for it. So anyway, that's the top 10 improv moments in movies. And again, I want to say thank you to those new subscribers I have, and old subscribers I have, all the comments, all the likes, all the shares, all the love I'm getting from you guys, all the views. I can't say thank you enough for that. You guys have completely topped all expectations I had for this page. I wrote this earlier, but I feel like I should say it now. I thought, I'd throw out a couple videos, maybe have a couple friends subscribe, be lucky to have 5 subscribers, and then if I'm lucky, my best video would have 100 or 200 views. So in just a couple months, even when I haven't posted in over a month, to have over 20 subscribers, to have 30 comments on certain videos, to have over 1,000 views on a video, it's honestly a great feeling. So I just want to say thank you again. And as always, please comment on if you think I snubbed one. I think this will be a good one for people to comment on again, because there are just so many great improvised moments in movies. So tell me what your favorite is. If I left it off, I'm sorry. Let me know. If you like the list, let me know. Like, of course, and as always, subscribe. Thank you very much. Have a good one.